never took them. You can get exemptions. Is this what it's about here?
We're recently focused on the right
Never
to.
took them. You can get exemptions. Is this what it's about here?
Well, you can raise that
We're
issue,
we're
but that's not on the agenda
recently
for tonight.
focused on
Um, the right
never
to.
took them. You can get exemptions. Is this what it's about here?
Well, I mean,
You can raise that issue,
we're
but that's not on the agenda
recently
for tonight.
focused. Okay.
yeah, I mean, many people here, myself included, have gotten vaccine exemptions to travel. So, I mean, this is much more broader than a mere vaccine exemption. This is more of a lawfare activism where we get results. We can measure cold people in leadership positions, elected officials. We can hold them accountable and liable for the decisions they made. And it's upholding the rule of law, the Constitution, and common law. So that vaccine injustice that happened to you and me and everyone is definitely part of the whole thing. So it's probably a little bit broader than that.
Oh, okay. What happened was I was recommended this group with these people, and I took two vaccines because I was a new grandmother. I don't know why it keeps echoing and saying it again and again, but I haven't felt well since, and I had a high D dimer and actually collapsed twice. But I was granny that they were trying to protect. I taught for 30 years in Toronto. Nobody asked me my vaccine status. But I don't think I took many. I was born in 1958 and there weren't all these ones. Anyway, I'm running for the New Blue Party in Bay of Quinte, and I've done it before, but only in the by-election, and partly because I am so sick of Doug Ford because we're still giving them out. Anyway, I'm just gonna listen, okay?
Sure. I mean, yeah, everyone's welcome. And yeah, I mean, I remember I never had to wear a mask to order a cup of coffee at a cafe, but they sent the police after me and gave me a $5,000 fine, and then I actually just won in court. So this my example, and others, like, I got acquitted and I don't have to pay the fines, and I appealed it to a higher court. So I mean, there's stuff that us citizens can do if whoever can get politically involved and push back and hold these people in power accountable. Yeah, that anyone who could do that is great. So yeah, it's a somewhat of an Orwellian abnormal society that they kind of thrust that upon us, which is that the new normal is not so normal, right? So
No,
I hear what you're saying with the vaccines, and I guess Larry was saying the other week. He asked a group in his activism group how many people know someone who's died of COVID, and there's barely anybody. And then how many people know someone who's been injured or died from the vaccine? And almost everyone put up their hand. So this is like it's a new normal, is a dystopian abnormal normal. It's not a real normal.
like my kids, I don't know whether, oh, can you hear me? Sorry. I don't know what's happening. Oh, okay. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Oh, I'm sorry. Okay, I'm just gonna say one more thing. My father was born in 1920, and he had three younger brothers born in 7.5 years. And I believe my grandfather collected garbage for the city of Toronto. And so they couldn't afford a home, let alone health care him and his brothers. And I think my father went to war with no vaccines at all. And he, on D Day, this as the story goes, he split his head open and had it stitched up by a doctor who had just amputated somebody's leg. In any event, he didn't take vaccines. My dad didn't have OHIP. He opted out when you could. So I don't think I had very much. Maybe till I was about 19, I think you couldn't opt out anymore. But for sure my kids didn't have them. Nobody asked in 30 years of teaching, and there was no autism. And then I came to Belleville and I did a bit of supply teaching, and there is tons of autism. It's just like every class has one or two kids, and they need a
Yeah,
full-time PA. Anyway, I'll let you
there's a,
go.
I agree with you. There's this new pandemic of autism, and it coincides with that new vaccine schedule that they rolled out, and it was banned in Europe. But this brand, like, it's a complete one-to-one relationship with the spike in autism and the new vaccine schedule for children. It's not a kind of a coincidence, strange coincidence if it is, right?
Yeah, like my grandson had to take tons of them for to go to school. And I grew up in an area where like my two best friends, their dads were doctors, and my daughter went to the same school, and that was kind of it was in East York, Lee Side, just south of there, and we never were asked for vaccines. And 30 years of teaching, nobody asked me for a vaccine. Anyway, I don't want to monopolize this, but I really like I don't know what's wrong with me. My doctor will not do another D dimer test, but it was very high and I collapsed twice, and now I go to a naturopath, and my insurance pays 80% of it. And so far I'm still alive, but it was brutal. And I live with somebody who's never had COVID, and he never took a vaccine, and I wish I hadn't. Anyway, thank you.
Okay, thank you for your comments. We appreciate the information about schools and the changes. That is an important item for us to learn about. Okay, first, we're gonna hear from Isabella. She will walk us through what she's been doing to fight the smart water meter, and I'll turn it over to her, and she can tell you what she's been doing.
Yes, good evening, Jane, and good evening, everyone. So I just want to give a quick update. I know we have a lot to discuss today, many important topics. But at my end, I've been basically fighting with the city to and raising my health and privacy concerns regarding the endpoint that they wanted to add during the water meter rollout program, with very little transparency or disclosure as to what this endpoint is doing. It's an EMF emitting data harvesting device, as I learned later. But at any rate, I was asking a lot of questions, and many of them are still not answered to date. But during this course of discussion between the city and I, they came and disconnected my water from November 14 until December 20th. So that disconnection resulted in a back injury because I started lifting 5-gallon water bottles to provide for my daily needs and for my family's water daily needs. And so I also, of course, sent 3 complaint letters to the city and my councillors on November 14, November 17, and December 2nd, asking them for the legal channels to appeal their decision, which they never provided. And so I basically faced a wall of silence, which led me to file a notice of motion for interim relief and an application for judicial review because of the way they have handled the situation and not answered many of my questions. So On December 20th, Justice Labrosse asked the city finally to reconnect the water because I had agreed to the replacement of my analog meter for a new analog meter, but without the endpoint. So pending the outcome of my judicial review, that's where we stand. I have my water back as of December 20th, but they could not install the endpoint for now. And I'm hoping to get clarity and answers to my complaints, basically. And I'm quite shocked at the way they have really done a punitive expedition. It felt like an assault, a punitive expedition. And the fact that they would not respond whatsoever is shocking as a taxpayer, as a constituent. I'm quite disappointed and, of course, horrified because I'm not the only one to whom they've done this. And of course, having a back injury has added to my being upset, to say the least. So that's what I wanted to share this evening with everyone. I think it's very important we stand up for our rights and we hold them accountable and we ask a lot of hard questions and we pursue this because if we don't, there are many, many rules that are being broken. I believe strongly that water is a God-given right, that I want them to be held accountable for giving themselves the power to shut the water off, even though a homeowner's account is in good standing, as mine was. I was, in fact, overpaying for my water, and still my water was disconnected. So is that what we want in Canada?
Also, you had another victory there too with regard to the escalated overbilling that they were doing.
That's correct, yes. What another tool in their arsenal was to overbill people who would not accept the endpoint as an addition to their new analog meter. And so I paid the $332 instead of $140, I guess, under duress. But I paid it because it's all about contract with the city and you have to pay and then claim your money back. And so what the judge did is he asked the city to credit me for the overpaid amounts. And that's what's being done now. There will be more information coming in the months to come because, as I said, there is a judicial review pending. And I guess a pretrial conference as well at some point. So I'm hoping that justice will, prevail, and that non-elected, as far as I understand, because that's the only piece of information my counselor has shared with me, a report was filed by a non-elected representative. I believe her name is Wendy Stephenson. Submitted to an environmental committee consisting of various councillors who seem to have accepted this deleterious clause or section of the water bylaw, allowing them to shut off water even if an account is in good standing. And that's what I'm trying to seek further clarity on, as to how it became Section 59.1, basically who created it, who rubber stamped it, who is giving the order to enforce this, because it's just horrifying to know that as a law-abiding taxpayer, they are able to shut off your water, even though we finance the resources, we pay taxes to the Ontario government, and yet here we are. They're shutting off water, not just to me, but to people in Kingsville. I know that a lady also had her water shut off, and that's unacceptable. So that's what I wanted to share with everyone tonight.
What about sharing the research, some of the research information? Or I could discuss that either way.
Yes, I can let you take over for that because I know you had a lot of good points in that respect, and I know you want to go.
So we did research on EMF as to whether these meters are harmful with the levels of EMF, and some like what is it, Environment Canada? Who is it that is the ministry involved in Canada that has approved these? I can't remember which one it was. Was the Environment Ministry?
Well, as far as the municipality, I know that the Minister of Municipal Municipal Housing Affairs and Housing.
Okay. Well, they shouldn't be the one anyways to be doing that because it's a health issue. But regardless, that their decision does not reflect the studies or the findings of the studies so far, because what they have is some studies are saying, well, we can't prove that it caused any harm. Well, that is not good because there's other studies where people are reporting up to 2% of people are reporting symptoms, headaches, earaches, nosebleeds, stuff like that, and they seem to be consistent symptoms as well. So the fact that, that this high level of reporting is going on is indicative that it is harmful. And just because someone doesn't have symptoms doesn't mean that they're not being adversely affected. Their organs could be, their circulation, all kinds of things could be being affected. Your brain, like just because you're not getting active symptoms, the symptoms I would think would be from people who are sensitive. So you see more of the immediate reaction. But on the other hand, uh, other studies are saying it's inconclusive. They weren't able to prove it's not as well. So they couldn't prove it was harmful, supposedly, most of them, except for I think this is evidence that it definitely could be harmful with so many people having symptoms. But on on the other end, they couldn't show it was not. So they couldn't show it was harmful and they couldn't show it was not harmful. Even the dreadful World Health Organization is saying more study is needed before it can be established that it's safe. And yet Ottawa, well, not just Ottawa, most of the cities in Canada are going gung ho and forcing it up in their face. Like what you heard from Isabel is that they, excuse me, threatened her and threatened her that they were going to cut her water off. And they did cut her water off and they doubled her water bill all of a sudden, just boom. And it was already high because they were doing estimating billing. So when they did that, it was already high. So they doubled the high level that she had. So it's just a straight up intimidation. And all of the way they dealt with her too was very, very derogatory. And in my view, the judge was sympathetic. Like he was, how do you say, in my view, confirming that that what they were doing is not right. Because he said, first of all, they made an offer to her to say that they would put a blocker on it so that the EMF would not be an issue. So she said no, because there's also a privacy issue. So I don't want that thing on there at all. Because there's privacy issue because it makes a record every hour of your water use. So they know things about your household, how many showers and how many times you flush the toilet, stuff like that, which is none of their freaking business. It should just be on a total and that's it. But no, they want this detailed. And plus, you have no assurance of what they're doing with that information. And you could see that that process is going to be part of the monitoring of the people in the 15-minute cities where they want to bring us. In hydro, you're doing the same thing. You're off hours. Like that. And again, they don't have any business. Oh, somebody's feedback coming from somebody. Okay, found it. Okay,
Surgeons here in town, Dallas, they're busy 5 days a week.
okay. I'm gonna turn everybody off. Sorry, but I can't continue when there's background noise. Okay, where was I? I got
Where
my,
they want they use that for the 15-minute cities.
oh yeah, the monitoring, because with hydro, they can tell when you're using, like doing laundry or something, if it's off hours. So that's again part of the monitoring, and it's intrusive, and there's no control of what happens with that data. They can share it and do whatever they want with it, and it can become part of a total monitoring process. They monitor what you buy, and you can't buy too much meat, or you can't, stuff like that. They want that kind of total control over everybody. So I'm really happy that Isabel is fighting this, because this is something there's somewhere where we don't want to go. So I think she's got some issues also with the bylaws. She's arguing that they're exceeding their power under the bylaw, and then also this EMF. It's not established whether it's safe or not. That's a really good position, and I think she's going to win if she has a proper uh, a process. Like, you never know what you're gonna get. It's like Forrest Gump and his chocolates, right? You don't know what kind of a legal process that you're gonna walk into. But I think I see, unrelated to this case, but I see sort of a general shift in the way the courts are behaving. Um, I've always said that all of the judges are not corrupt and yada yada yada, but many of them are and we're doing outrageous things on the record that we're in defiance of our Bill of Rights, of our common law, all that. But now I see that there's a shift in the way they're behaving. They probably don't want to draw attention to themselves. So they're doing legally, like the ones that were not before are now doing what they're supposed to do legally. So this gives me a good optimism for the situation that Isabel's going to get when she goes forward with her hearing, which will be in the fall, judicial review. And I think that's a really positive way to go. It's a really good tool, citizen tool, to hold the government responsible, because when she gets there, they have to prove that their decision is fair, and there's rules about, there's case law that breaks it down, what they have to prove in order to prove it's fair, and they have to prove it's reasonable. And the same thing, there's case law that shows what they need to do and how they need to do it to make it reasonable. And that's a really good tool for us. It's not used very much, but it's something, and Isabel is using it on her own, self-represented. So, okay, there's a hand up, Cindy. Go ahead, Cindy.
Hi, yes,
Hi.
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 Okay, so I'm got notification for two things. The hydro, which they say they're going to come at the end of January to change the meter. So that's on the outside. And then from the city of Toronto is the smart water meter.
Okay.
So my question is, I got like a download from a trespassing notice for that I'm putting all over the house
Yeah.
regarding hydro. If they come without me knowing, is that um, would that have any legal stance of them coming because I put the notice of trespassing up?
Well, the thing is, they don't have to go. I don't think they have to go on your property to cut it off.
Oh,
I don't think. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe they do. I don't think so, because I've seen situations where, like, as I'm property manager, I've seen situations where hydro's cut off and they don't come and do it. Like they don't show up and do it. But I'm not
Oh,
trying to discourage you. I mean, the whole point of this program today is to tell people that they can take legal action. I believe the cost was $229 to file judicial review.
okay.
And
Yeah.
we'll share the information that we've gathered.
Hmm.
I don't know about your bylaws, and I don't know if they're the same as Ottawa's, but everything else would apply that I've been talking about, like the research about the EMF and then raising the privacy issue, and
Okay.
all of that stuff could apply to you.
Yeah, I
It's not a bad idea to put the trespass on, but
know.
it may not stop them, is what I'm saying.
Oh, because it could be remotely activated.
Yeah, yeah. I don't know about water if they have to come in hands-on because somebody did come to Isabel's to turn it off, but I don't know if they have to come right on your property to turn it off or if they're just at the front where the city is. I don't know where they turn it off. I don't understand.
Okay.
Isabel, do you know where they turned it off?
So for the hydrometer, I know that in 2011 they came on on my property and affixed
Oh, I can't hear you. You're cutting
fixed
out.
the new hydrometer on the
Okay,
house, and I had written to them not asking them not to do it. And now I'm still going back and forth with them as well, telling them to remove it. And for the water, it's at the property line, so it's at the front of the
okay.
property.
So
Yeah,
put the
yeah.
trespass
There's a
notice up.
valve.
Yeah,
There's a shut off inside the house for
okay,
water, and there's one, yeah, a valve
Yeah,
outside,
that's
probably near
correct.
the sidewalk or somewhere near there.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's the one they shut off at the property line at the front of the property on the lawn. And I actually was home and I rushed out. And the interesting thing is, and I recorded the whole thing. The interesting thing also is that they pretended or the technician was honest. He thought Neptune was coming to replace the meter, and I said, no, it's not possible. And when he investigated, Neptune said, no, we don't have a work order to come today, and nor can we. So I don't know exactly what's going on, and I'm trying to get clarity on the situation, but they did. The city manager told the technician to pack up and leave, despite the fact the technician said, well, there seems to be a miscommunication because Neptune is not coming. And
yeah,
so there is something murky, something amiss,
yeah.
which we are trying to figure out. Some something is not above board, and the fact is, the technician said, "Well, I'm just doing my job, so I have to listen to my boss." And he packed up and
I,
left.
I,
And
I just saw something to clarify for Cindy, based on all of the input here. Um, they can't, like, you put the trespass notices up, and then they wouldn't be able to come right up to your building and put those meters in.
Um,
But they are threatening to cut off the service if you don't allow. So, so the trespass notice, yes, definitely put up because it'll prevent a surprise. You come home and they've come on your property and put it on. Um,
so do you think the police, so it says in this, it's a download from Stanford, um, it says you can charge criminal charges and then it gives the
no, that's
statute.
wrong. That's
No.
wrong. No, it's only if they come on after 9 at night. It's not criminal charges
Oh,
to come on during the day. I asked them to fix that and they didn't.
okay.
Yeah. No, it's not criminal charge. But you
So,
can sue them because it's a violation of your rights, your
yeah,
property. Yeah,
so it's you like on the notice, it said Bill of Rights is, one, I think it's statute one about right to privacy, life and security,
property, yeah,
property. Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Okay.
No, it's
Great.
still good, but it's not criminal. I think they had that on there. I sent a message for them to take it off, but they didn't.
Okay.
It's after it's on or about your property. I believe it's 9 at night for criminal charge. Otherwise, it's there's a charge under the Trespass to Property Act, which is not criminal. It's a charge, but it's not criminal. Do you know what I'm
Oh,
saying?
okay. So what would
Because it's provincial. It's a provincial act.
eventually?
So it's not criminal. But it goes into court and everything. You defend yourself the same, but it's not criminal.
So if I call the police, like if I see them on the land and
Yes.
I can
Yeah,
call
you
the
can,
police and
yeah.
say, and the police can tell them to leave.
Yeah,
Is that
because your
correct?
sign is notifying them.
Okay.
So they can't say they didn't know, or they can't say, that they have some business there or whatever. And be specific, put hydro without a
Okay.
word. Hydro and whatever the water company is, and the city,
Um,
put
so
it
here's
right on the notice, put it right on there. So then there's
yeah.
no ambiguity
Okay.
that you're saying as the property owner to stay off the property. So that's some measure of protection, but like what they did to Isabel, they doubled her bill and cut her water off. That's where you gotta watch them, because that you can't stop them. The water is at the like, I think it's 12. Well, it may be different in different cities, and I can't remember whether it's 6 feet or 12 feet of property from the road is considered city property. So if that valve is on that patch, then they can come on there and turn it off. And the hydro, I think, is done remotely.
Well, not for the installation of the
No,
meter.
not the meter. That's what I'm just saying. I'm telling her, put the trespass
Yeah,
sign to stop them from coming on. But
right,
when you turn your hydro off, they don't have to come on. So the
correct,
trespass the property sign is not going to stop them from turning the hydro off.
correct.
Trying to separate the apples from the oranges is what I'm trying to do.
Yeah,
Right.
Right? Like, so there's two things that they could do, right? They could sneak on the property and put the meter on. Okay, trespass to property should stop that. But after the fact, if you don't allow them, they could turn you off the
Well,
hydro, and they don't even
yeah.
have to come on your property. So the sign doesn't stop them from turning off your hydro. And the water, I believe it's on the patch of land that belongs to the city.
yeah, that's correct.
So they're allowed to just come on there. It's not trespassing, it's their property.
Hey, Jane, Virginia just posted something interesting about shutting off public utility. They only have the right, apparently, if you owe them money. I think Isabel did not owe them anything. She was up to date.
Oh, wow. We want that.
Yeah. Maybe Virginia, you can say where you got that. And also, I would just want to ask Isabel a question, because this is a very brave fight. I've always, Isabel asked the question, who's behind this? And it's always this insidious thing where one party blames the other. Like if the municipality says, oh, it's Neptune, it's the smart water meter company, which is a private company, they're trying to save the money, not us. And then Neptune says, no, we have a business contract with the municipality. So the municipality is telling us, you need this, is nothing to do with us. They're just telling us to install these. And then the municipality will say, well, it's regulated by the provincial government. And it's like everybody is pointing the finger at each other. And so it's hard. It's like this gelatinous, like it's like this slimy thing. You can't grab a hold of it and find out who's behind this. But if this municipal act here says that Virginia sent, if that's true, that the municipality can't shut it off without if you've paid your bills, that'd be very interesting to know, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, yes, I'm aware of this. And what they're trying to argue is without limiting Section 9, 10, and 11 is 9 being they have the power of a natural person. I think that's what this refers to. And so yeah, they have certain powers, but with powers comes responsibilities. And they also have municipal bylaw 10.26, I think, which says that they're supposed to pass a bylaw for the health, safety, and well-being of people, of persons, of us, the incorporated inhabitant, I guess. But so their section 59.1, which allows them to shut off the water for other reasons than owing money, contravenes their own bylaws. And it contravenes section 14.1 of the Municipal Act, which says that if a bylaw conflicts with the provincial or federal act, it's of no effect. Well, shutting off the water is conflicting with the Canadian Bill of Rights, because we have right under section 1A, right to life, and life is water. I can
And
maybe
security person,
and
too, because the
and
harm,
enjoyment, yeah,
and
and
privacy, because
and
the
privacy.
data is property.
That's right.
So that
My
privacy
data,
falls
my
under
property.
enjoyment
Yeah.
of property, yeah.
Water should not be conditional on me giving up my data for them to sell to third party or not be able to protect, because that's a huge issue. Through my research, I've seen that Neptune had issues with third party during the water meter replacement with the city of Hamilton. I've read also that the hackers usually gain access from employees who are in the first year of their contract with a third party. And the massive amount of data is so hard to protect that Neptune in a podcast said they hire hackers to protect against hackers. Does that make me feel good? Certainly not. And the fact that CRA could not protect our information and are now in a lawsuit against Todd Sweeney, I think. That shows that even if CRA cannot, I doubt that anyone can. Nothing is safe on the internet. And that's why they have the waiver of liability for any platform we use.
Yeah. I just noticed in this bylaw, it doesn't say they can't shut it off for any other reason. It just says they can shut it off if you didn't pay, if you have an overdue, that they can. So that doesn't exclude cutting it off for another reason. And I'm not saying that there is a justified other reason. I don't think there is, for the fact that all law has to read into it your rights. So you have privacy rights in what they're trying to do with the smart meter, and you have the right to security of person. And
That's right.
They can't assure your security because the research is inconclusive. Even the World Health Organization, piece of shit, is actually
And in addition to trying to harm us physically, our health, I have an uneasy feeling that this is part of a social credit system, like China. Because if you're a good little citizen, we told you have to be very judicious with your water, only one shower a day. We noticed at this time, we told you can't, like, they used to have in water shortages, you weren't allowed watering your lawn in the summer because there was a shortage of in the aqueduct or whatever the hell. This could be part of like a larger scheme of monitoring, surveillance, water use, everything, like to give you a report card. So it's a kind of an Orwellian nightmare. So yeah, it's just really noble to stand up. Anyone standing up, like Isabel, Cindy, Jamie, anyone standing up is so amazing, because we got to stop them before it starts, really. Because
And I agree. One thing that is at the forefront of their brochure is leaks. They talk a lot about leaks. In fact, I used to think that the box, because I used to have a box that they put in saying it's a leak detection device, and I thought that's all it was until I had a leak. And in 2022, and nothing, I was not alerted to the leak, and that box did nothing. And then that's where they started sending me letters. We can't have readings coming to us, etc. So they definitely will want to monitor. If you have a leak, they might fine you if you using too much water. It's going to be tied to, I agree, to a system, a score credit system. And we're very close. Like they're really, the cities, the municipalities have empowered themselves. And that is very worrisome because it's shocking that they would have not responded for 3 weeks and broken so many rules, as if my rights don't exist and the one of my family.
Yeah. Yeah, they have to be stopped, and I'm glad people are standing up. And I see more and more all the time are standing up.
And I think we'll prepare a public interest letter that we'll share at some point if anyone wants to write. And I guess we can address it to the Minister of Municipal Affairs and Housing,
Okay.
Paul Calandra, I think it is, and anyone else who's in charge of this file.
Sure.
And that will help because I think a lot of people, I get phone calls and emails of people who did not want, they accepted the endpoint under duress. It's not that we didn't want a new analog meter, even the old one was not working. It's the fact that they are imposing an endpoint which has not properly been described, and there were no disclosure about the capabilities of that endpoint. Nowhere in their bylaws does it say it's an EMF. Nowhere does it say it harvests information every hour. Not even in the brochures that they gave us.
Yeah, we should emphasize that too in the presentation. There's so many of those things like that. Cindy, did you have a question?
Yes. So is all the smart meters by the Neptune throughout Canada, or has it all been?
I think it's throughout Canada.
Okay, so it's the one company.
Yeah, it's an American company too.
Okay, and as a separate company that's contracted under the city, can you go after them and write a notice of liability as they're acting on behalf of the city?
Yeah.
So you can send 2 notices of liability, one to the city
Yeah.
and then one to Neptune.
Yep. Yes, of course you can. Yeah.
Okay. All right. And I know I spoke to Isabel. Thank you for sharing the information. Would you, I guess, Isabel, I guess I need to talk to you as to what your framework was or your direction was when you sent all this to the city. Or Jane,
Yeah, we can have another conversation. You have my number, and we can coordinate for sure.
Okay.
We can even go on a Zoom if you want me to feedback as well.
Yeah, we could all jump on and brainstorm. Judicial review process, all that.
Yeah. And get it. Yeah, go ahead.
No, I don't want to cut people off. There's just a question that I just read. It's in the chat. If there's already a meter has already been installed, how do you get it the hell out of your house? Like chainsaw or what? I guess that would cause a flood, right? Maybe not a good idea.
I don't know.
How about asking?
After.
How about asking them to remove it depending on the outcome of my judicial review?
Yep, that's a good idea, Isabel.
Hey, that's a great idea. Yes. Yeah, it's already, yeah, great idea.
So maybe that's something we can prepare a letter and share it later, at another next Zoom with people.
Sure. That's a good idea. And something like this can really escalate on our side, hey? Something like this when an action is clearly defined and steps to take, people are inclined to respond. So I think this is a really good start to the whole thing. Like your whole all what you've done in the research and everything you filed and all this and the success. Like times two successes, like one on the billing and one on the water being cut off. That's an inspiring element.
Mm-hmm.
So yes, definitely letters, 2 letters, to put out that can help people move forward with this issue.
Yeah.
We could do also, I don't know, have a little more time now that I got this document put in. But we could look at making an NOL specific to the the research issue, the privacy issue, stuff like that.
Oh, that'd be great because yeah, I mean for me it's because this is pressing with the time stamp of the end of the month.
Yes,
With hydro.
exactly. So put them on notice if you touch my services, we're gonna have a go around. If you
Okay.
do a strong enough one, it might make them nervous.
Mhm.
And probably getting ready for judicial review would be a good idea too. And maybe even if you file one, you can ask for an interim order so they don't cut it off until your judicial review is done. That's probably going to be the strongest position to take.
Yeah, because within the judicial review, there are the provision to either stop them from doing something or order them to do something, the mandamus and all that. That's within the judicial review.
Yeah, the process, you can get a temporary, like interim means temporary order. So they can't cut it off, for example, until it goes to the judicial review hearing. And in Isabel's case, they're not going to be going till the fall.
Wow.
So her water is on till the fall, no matter what. And after, I mean, it has to be finished. It's not till when it starts, it's till when it's finished. And I think that the city's going to be nervous about going to judicial review. Because if they lose, then it kills the whole aggressive installation. And they're going to be getting people saying, take that out of my place. So they probably don't want to take that chance. So they probably, I don't know, my guess is they're going to just make an exception for her or something like that. But even that's problematic too, because if they say they made an exception because she's sensitive to the EMF, they're also not violating her privacy. So there's nothing that she can do to make a more or to achieve a more comprehensive result. But it would be an opening, for other people to demand the same exemption.
And let's not forget, recently or last year in May, the many endpoints in Toronto were failing. I got an article which I should post. And the interesting part is that the city of Toronto says, well, we'll accept your manual reading and then you can pay your bill. And or we can estimate your billing because we are pretty accurate at doing that. So that's also interesting how because now it's going to take them 3 or 4 years to replace those malfunctioning endpoints. And it's an admission that they are able to accept or to estimate accurately past on previous history and make accommodation. And just like a Enbridge, they don't treat me like a criminal. I give my reading, they send me the bill, I pay. Why is it different with water?
Yeah. But I think you got them on the run.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And a lot of people are voicing their concerns, and a lot of people in my neighborhood were sending postcards and letters and emails to the councillor saying, we don't want it. What is this section 59.1? Why are you threatening us? No answers. None. They would not answer. That's the incredible part about this, is that they won't answer us and they should be accountable to us.
Exactly. Fair and reasonable. They can answer it, which is really good. So, are there any more questions on the topic of smart water meters? Have you finished, Isabel?
Yes, that's my update for the evening, and maybe next Zoom we can come up with that public interest letter and
Yes.
help others. I'm going to be in contact with other people who are messaging me about their own situation as well, so we can, get organized.
Perfect.
Thank you, Jane.
You're welcome. Thank you for sharing this.
You're welcome. Have a good evening.
Yeah, that's awesome. Wow.
Yep.
Amazing. We're fighting back and we're getting successes, and this is so good.
Mm-hmm.
I agree too. So the next item on the list is some letters regarding well, I have one for citizens regarding the jury, the request for jury for JP Ayotte, who was the hot tub guy in the truckers convoy. And I'll bring it up on the screen. And I'm looking for feedback. Somehow I got muted. I don't even know how that happened. Okay, so where are we here? I'm going to share the letter. And just take a second here. This is the citizens letter. Now, these two links, I probably should put them at the bottom of the letter, but one of them is the 1902 trial where a man was charged with stealing boots, and he was being charged on a summary basis, meaning the court was, or not the court, but the prosecutor was treating it as a low level crime, like a less serious crime. So he went to a trial and he ended up pleading guilty and got found guilty and was sentenced. And once he was sentenced, there was a habeas corpus filed on his behalf, which is a really cool right that we have. It's an old right, but it's in the bill and it's in the charter even, but it's in the bill. And what it means is the court summons, like on our request, summons the body into court. So when you suspect that somebody's being improperly incarcerated, anybody can go to the court and get an order for that person to be brought from the jail into the court. And then once you're there, you the excuse me, the system has to prove that you're in there legally or legitimately. So this guy did a habeas corpus, and the argument was he was improperly incarcerated because they didn't offer him a jury. and the court agreed and released him and dropped the charge against him. So that, and there's other proof, but this one's a really crunchy one. But in those days, they were trying to, lean towards not giving a trial for the less serious ones, even back then. But they were still doing it. They were still giving the trials. And then 1947, this case also shows that the right to a jury is a substantive right. So it's not like what they're doing now is not treating it as a substantive right, because they've reduced the number of juries from 100% down to less than 2%. That's what we're looking at now. And I believe there's a correlation between that reduction in juries and the totalitarianism that we're seeing, because there's nothing to stop it, there's nothing to curtail it. So juries are very badly needed to level out our democracy. It was meant to keep it in balance, but because it's got out of control, like in terms of the reduction, then so has the system gotten out of control. So this how the letter goes. The subject is protecting justice, the right to jury trial, and fundamental freedoms. Dear fellow citizens, I am writing to raise awareness about critical issues in our justice system that affect us all. The erosion of the right to jury trial, the denial of rights-based defenses in court, and the violation of fundamental freedoms such as speech and assembly. These injustices are starkly evident in the case of Mr. J.P. Ayotte, whose treatment reveals the urgent need to defend fairness and democracy in Canada. Violations of fundamental freedoms. Mr. Ayotte participated in the 2022 trucker convoy as a peaceful protester, exercising his democratic rights to freedom of speech and assembly. These rights, guaranteed under the Canadian law, were confirmed to have been violated by Justice Mosley, who ruled that the rights of peaceful protesters during the convoy were not respected. Despite this ruling, okay, just somebody's taking his transcript, but whatever, who ruled that the rights of peaceful protesters during the convoy were not respected. Despite this ruling, Mr. Ayotte now faces criminal charges in the Ontario Court of Justice, a court that denies him access to a jury trial and the ability to make rights-based arguments in his defense. The injustice Mr. Ayotte has endured extends beyond the courtroom. He was brutally beaten by police and had his property destroyed, including a hot tub, and was forcibly removed from Ottawa. Police left him in the outskirts of the city in freezing weather without a phone or money, putting his safety and his dignity at risk. The right to a jury trial. The erosion of the right to jury trial is a significant threat to justice. Jury trials ensure that individuals accused of crimes are judged by their peers, not solely by government-appointed judges. This safeguard was enshrined in the Magna Carta of 2012, which declared that no one could be deprived of freedom or property without the lawful judgment of their peers. Oops. I lost myself now. No, it's down. No. Okay. The lawful judgment of their equals. In Canada, jury trials were once guaranteed for 100% of criminal cases. Over the past century, the right has been systematically diminished. In 1902, the case of Conway demonstrated the importance of jury trials when a conviction was overturned because no jury was provided involving a summary offense. By 1981, jury trials were used in only 10 to 15% of criminal cases. Today, fewer than 2% of criminal matters involve juries. This decline concentrates power in the hands of single judges, removing the community's role in ensuring fairness, transparency, and impartiality in legal proceedings. Denial of right-based defenses. Trials in the Ontario Court of Justice further undermine fairness by preventing individuals from making rights-based arguments in their defense. This court has limited jurisdiction and cannot address violations of fundamental freedoms, such as those confirmed by Justice Mosley. This means that Mr. Ayotte cannot challenge the legality of the police actions. Ooh, that's not correct. Sorry, I got to change that. He can still, the illegality of denying. Actually, also security of person. Oh, wait, maybe not. Because I think they still can. I'll put it. Freedom of speech and assembly. Nor can he argue that his rights to speech and oh shit. I gotta change this again. Just give me a second here. Mr. Ayotte, this dual injustice is profound. Without a jury trial, he cannot benefit from the collective wisdom and impartiality of his peers. Without this ability to make rights-based arguments, he is denied the opportunity to hold authorities accountable for violating his fundamental rights. A broader threat to justice. The treatment of Mr. Ayotte reflects broader systemic issues that affect all Canadians. The erosion of jury trials and the denial of rights-based defenses weaken the principles of fairness, accountability, and democracy that underpin our justice system. Jury trials are essential for ensuring that justice is done, not seen to be done. Wait a minute. Ensuring that justice is done and seen to be done. Okay. They allow ordinary citizens to participate in the legal process, ensuring that decisions reflect the values and diversity of the community. I don't like that word. The values of the community. Similarly, the ability to make rights-based arguments is critical for holding authorities accountable and protecting the freedoms that define our democracy. A call to action. As Canadians, we have a responsibility to stand up for justice and demand that these safeguards be restored. Mr. Ayotte's case is not just about one individual. It is about the rights and freedoms of us all. The violations he has faced, from police abuse to the denial of fair trial. Wait a minute. So, okay, I can leave it like that. Highlight what is at stake if we allow these injustices to persist. Oops. I urge you to join me in advocating for the restoration of the right to a jury trial for all criminal cases, the expansion of court jurisdiction to allow rights-based defenses in all legal matters, and the protection of fundamental freedoms, including speech and assembly, as upheld by Justice Mosley. Together, we can ensure that our justice system reflects the principles of fairness, accountability, and equality that are essential to a free and democratic society. Thank you for your attention to this urgent matter. So if anything stands out, or if you think anything should be added, please let me know. Oh, sorry. I didn't mute myself. I don't know what's happened. That's happened twice.
Oh, no, we didn't hear anything you said in the past 20 seconds, 30 seconds.
Okay.
So
I
you were
didn't.
going over the the case law, the main case law.
Yeah, I was. Oh, yeah. Uh, that's what I did at the beginning, right? At the beginning of the
Okay.
letter. The
Yeah.
case law. Yeah. And I was just asking now if anybody has any feedback, if they want something changed or added or taken out,
Mhm.
worded.
So there's the two letters. There's one for the churches and this one too.
Yeah, I haven't done the church one yet. I just wanted to see if for feedback.
Okay. Okay. Well, yeah. Yeah, no, it's a great idea to just get public awareness, political awareness, societal awareness. So yeah. And it's a month away, right? So
Yeah.
how many
I'm
days? It's about 1 month till their court case. Yeah.
okay, so I'll cut this one off and I'll
Maybe we should play some of those videos that we were when we were with JP and get the ones that Gabriel sent to
okay.
show just to get people because into the mood of what these guys were, because they're so famous worldwide, infamous. They were on CNN and Fox, and Trump talked about the hot tub guys and the bouncy castles, and they're so popular, and it's a very high profile case. I don't believe it would be difficult to get people interested in this case.
No, I don't think so either.
And people would like to know what's going to happen, and people are going to want to read the factum that you put together, Jane. And
Yeah.
so
I put it in the credits already, but I'll do it again because
yeah,
when people come out late, I wish they'd fix that, but when they come in
I
late,
have it in a PDF version. If you want, I can throw it in there. Although there's some typos in it, but I could, maybe I'll do that later. I'll fix the typos and then I'll PDF it later.
what typos? What are you talking about?
No, just
You
certain
can't touch
stuff.
those. You can't touch anything
Yeah,
anymore.
don't worry. No, just minor type.
If
No, don't
it's
worry.
typo,
Okay, I'll put it
yes.
in. I'll put it in the chat right now as a PDF. Okay,
What?
the whole 150 page.
I got it right here as a link.
Oh, you got it as a link. Okay, yeah, link's better. Okay.
Yep. I might have to put amendments in, because I know, like Dave found a place where it said fucking justified. Like they can't override it unless it's justified. It's like a
Oh
total
yeah.
mistake and it came from AI. So I might have to put an amendment.
Okay.
And if I do, then we can correct. Well, that's a pain in the ass too, because you have to notify. Like, nah.
Okay.
Where was I gonna go? Great. Oh, did you want to be the host and put some of those videos on?
Yeah. Okay. If you make me host, I can screen share and let me pull them up right now. Let's see.
Find, like, oh. I can't send for some reason. Like when I pull down the menu for chat, I can't see for everybody. It's only the individual names. Oh, here, I got it now. It came back.
Yeah, if
There.
you can give me host, and then I'll do a screen share,
Yeah, I'll do that right now.
and then I'll show everybody the fun videos. Maybe I'll send that Karen. You know that Karen who was the
Oh
that
yeah,
woman
that's
who
a good one.
she
That's
was
a good one.
criticizing the hot tub guys, and she was inciting violence against them and wanting the public to destroy their property. And she's like an elected counselor. I mean, it was insane. I mean, they were just peacefully having a hot tub, you know?
Yep.
Oh, you made me host. Wow,
Yep.
that's nice.
The
Okay.
hostess with the mostest.
Wow, thanks.
Will these videos be on the live stream that I can watch tomorrow?
Yep.
Okay, thank you.
Heard the audio, so let's go to the Karen.
I mean, I was just aghast this weekend that
Could you guys hear that?
Yeah.
She was just aghast. She's
Yeah.
beside herself. She can't believe it.
You know, there's a bouncy castle and there's a hot tub. David, I wanted to go up there and poke that hot tub myself and let the water flow out of it and unplug that damn bouncy castle because it's just a symbol of the frustration that's gone on for 19 days in the capital. So yes, we are making changes to do everything that we can do to end this illegal occupation of our city.
Also illegal, Diane, damage to personal property, but you don't seem to have a problem with that, do you? You are completely unhinged in saying this, and that is not a symbol of the frustrations of people of Ottawa for the last 19 days. It's a symbol of frustration for all Canadians for the last 2 years when these mandates have ruined people's lives, and you can't seem to see that. You just want to keep bash these protesters, bash these truckers, and ruin what we're trying to do right now because it doesn't fit your liberal establishment narrative, and you want to crush it just as bad as Trudeau does. And guess what? It's not going to happen. You can go out there and pop all the bouncy castles you want. These truckers are not leaving.
Love it.
Well, there you go.
And
Let's
we
have a
were
look.
going to subpoena her. We
Hmm.
all decided it was a good idea to subpoena her, and it
Mhm.
turns out she's passed away.
Yeah. Yeah. That's well, you can't speak badly of the dead, but I mean, well, anyways, no comment there. Here is those horsies. They trampled that lady. I was there when that happened. This is, I think it's after because it's towards the end, and they beat up Mr. JP Ayat. They pulled him behind the line. Look at these guys. Can you guys see that I'm zooming in?
Yeah.
They have these guns. I think they're tear gas, or I don't know what the hell.
They're probably rubber bullets.
And they pulled JP behind the line, and 7 officers, like, talk about overkill. The guy's unarmed, and they pounced on him, and then about several hundreds of pounds of weight, and they were kicking him, kneeing him in the side. And then he thought he was going to die because he was asphyxiated. He couldn't breathe. And so the only thing he could think of was to fake his death. And then when he stopped moving, then they got off him like, holy geez, we pulled a Floyd on this guy. We might have killed this guy. But then he was still alive, luckily.
Yeah.
And because, a peaceful protester needs to be beaten up because it's like Tiananmen Square in China. That's what you do to peaceful protesters.
Yeah.
Here, let's see what else we got. Let's have a look at their names. Write those names down, guys. This is before the beating.
I just want, what's your name and badge number, please? Don't go behind the line. Yeah, I want to name badge number. Don't go behind the line.
So some of them didn't have names or badge numbers, so it's like special troops. I don't know.
Then you can zoom. Your camera has a zoom.
Well, man, that's not nice. Then they were having fun. They were shoveling the sidewalks. This is a Canadian thing, I'm sure. Like, it's a little, yeah. Well, yeah. Very dangerous, these guys. Very dangerous. Yeah.
Yeah, they hug too much.
Yeah, too much hugging. Yeah. Okay. Well, I'll look at
What
these
about
other...
when they're in the hot tub? Do you have one?
Oh, yeah. Let me go all the way back. Okay, there's the zoom. I have to go back for that, but I think I can get it. Where is that? Yeah, I'll get them in the hot tub for sure, Jane. Hang on. Well, this girl's laughing at them here. Oh. It's not working here. Who's this? Oh, here we are. Well, this is not great. That's in the newspaper. That's the Journal de Montréal. There these guys are. There's the hot tub guys.
Yeah.
I think I have a better picture of them in front of the parliaments. The party continues, it says. Let's see here. That's Jane and I in the court, room 5, pre-trial for the hot
With
tub
our
guy.
trial brief, with our trial brief.
With our trial brief. Hey, let's see. Oh, hey, that's cute. Yeah, I like that. That's cute. I'm sure we went to
There
court
they
again.
are.
We went to court a second time with these guys. Well, they're really good guys, I'm telling you. They didn't accept the plea deal. They're like, we're not guilty, so we're not going to do a plea deal. I'll play this video. I don't know what it is.
If you impersonate the police. You impersonate the police if you don't give my name and badge number. You told me you don't touch an officer. Name and badge number, please. Name and badge number, please. Tu veux pas donner ton nom? Fait que tu t'es pas une police dans le fond. Fait que
He's saying you're in English. He's saying you're not a police. It's a police liaison. It's not really a police.
No, it's not.
He says you're impersonating a police officer. That's funny. They had a bunch of, and they had agents, of course. They had what we would call plainclothes, like they're like pretending they're protesters, but they're actually government intelligence agents. Maybe could be CSIS, could be some part of the anti-terrorism. Oh yeah, that's nice, very nice. I wanted to. What's this?
Hey guys, this is a convoy from St. Jerome to Ottawa, and they're putting nails now on the ground.
Oh, they're booby trapping the convoy from Quebec to Ottawa with nails.
Show me the nails. Look at this, buddy.
Oh my God, they want to put the flat tire. I never knew they did that. They'll stop at nothing. Wow. See, they hire these subversive people to cause trouble.
Through the Canadian truckers, you've been reading about it, who are resisting bravely these lawless mandates, are doing more to defend American freedom than our own leaders by far. And we want those great Canadian truckers to know that we are with them all the way. They've really shown something.
That's pretty good.
I remember Trump mentioned the bouncy castles too and the hot tub. So let's see here. Okay, there's the Karen. I know I had a better picture of the hot tub. Let's see what this guy says.
Okay. I'm going to read something to you from the UK Parliament.
Oh, that was about proroguing. Okay.
Yeah.
This is one. Oh, you talked about that. So yeah. I'll try to find out. I'm gonna give the floor back to you, Jane, and I'll try to find that other picture you're talking about of
Okay.
the actual where they were in the hot tub, and there were no residents living there. It was right on Wellington, and JP himself didn't bring any vehicle.
No.
So it's like he was just like one of us. I went there almost every day for the whole 3 weeks, and I didn't drive around, and I didn't have a vehicle parked anywhere. And so it's like we're just there. We're joining the protest, hundreds of thousands of people, and they just picked JP and beat him up. You know, it's just crazy.
Yeah.
And destroying the property.
I didn't put it in the email, but I think I should talk about the promulgation, proroguing government.
Yeah, that's a good topic. The prorogation, and is it legal? And is it a good thing or a bad thing? Yeah, that's a good idea.
Prorogation. I have
because you did a
trouble with that
video
one.
on that, right, Jane? You did a
Yeah,
video.
I did, yeah, on Facebook. First,
I'll post your video in the chat.
okay. So first of all, I want to emphasize that we wanted this. We wanted Trudeau to resign. We didn't want him to run again. We didn't want him to lead the country anymore. We wanted him to resign. And in my view, the way in which it's been done, and it's probably because they're toppled. We toppled them. We toppled Trudeau and Freeland. They didn't have any more backing. Like their whole parties turned against them and everything. With primarily with the issue of the ultimate authority in Parliament being shifted to the court. That's what they were trying to do, and that failed. So they're bounced because they're no good as, the manipulative leaders anymore. They just lost their standing because their own parties, well, not Freeland's party, but Trudeau's own party turned against him. A large number turned against him and signed a letter that they were willing to to like talk about breaking the party whip. Like that's breaking it pretty far. They signed a letter that they were going to bounce some non-confidence. So we beat them pretty badly. So resignation was his only option because of the pressure and so on. And there's police investigation and all kinds of other things shaken down. So what he did was resignation and then prorogue Parliament through the proper process, which is through the Governor General on advice of the Prime Minister. So that process is legal. And the good thing about proroguing government is all the bills that have not been fully passed, so including C-293, are dead out of the water. And there's another bad one, I think it's C-20 or something that's got more provisions for censorship and stuff. And there's probably other ones. I don't know every bill that's moving along, but they're all dead. And I'm sure there's other ones that were quietly sneaking in. So this is a good thing. And having the government prorogued from now till the end of March, I don't see any adverse consequence. He's not running into the show anymore. All those bills are dead. A leadership race has been called for to put someone else in the Liberal Party. If the government needs to, they can still pass regulations, even though it's prorogued, and they can come back and convene if there's an emergency and deal with whatever they have to do on an emergency. So, like, what are we losing? We're losing his crappy bills. Like that's big time in our defense or our interest, I mean. So the group that's leading this campaign to declare the proroguing of government as illegal is JCCF, John Carpay specifically, the infamous John Carpay. And JCCF, charter lovers, and convoy manipulators are leading this. So obviously, declaring it illegal would not be in our interest. In fact, what it would do, if they're successful, is it would reactivate all of those bills. Like C-293 is at the last reading in the Senate. Okay, so it's almost through. So if they reverse this process, then poof, it goes through. And any other ones. So we don't want this. We don't want the JCCF to lead us in that direction. We need to recognize that this is in our interest to have this. And if like people are screaming, right, for him to be out of there. So what choices did he have? He could run away or kill himself or resign. So he resigns. And there's consequences. The Parliament can't run effectively without the prime minister, because they're like they have very specific administrative tasks. Like the way he's been acting is he's trying to like embellish his power and everything, but he's not supposed to have that kind of role. It's just like an administrative role that everything runs properly and whatever. Anyway, so you can't have Parliament operating without the Prime Minister. So at the end of the day, I think people need to don't listen, like I said in the video, don't listen to the freetards, because the freetards are telling us that this is a bad thing that the Parliament is prorogued till the end of March. And like why? They're not even coming up with any reasons. Like it's not bad because, okay, because There is no becauses. If there's any such word as that. So my message is this is what we wanted to happen, and this is in our interest. And they try to. I've heard a couple of half-assed attempts. Oh, they're just buying time. So, like, buying time for what? And somebody else said, "Oh, that's just because he didn't want to be the subject of a non-confidence vote." Well, it would be the exact same thing. It would be, and there's more dignity in actually resigning yourself, right? So why not? Like, you're out. So what's the difference? Anyway, um, if anybody has any comments they want to make or questions, go for it. Kat, go ahead.
Hi, Jane. I just had a question. Who is the judge for JP Ayotte?
I don't know yet. They didn't
There's no.
assign. They didn't
Oh,
assign.
really?
Yeah.
Okay. Thank
There
you.
was the preliminary, didn't like early on when they gave them the plea deal, it was that former Liberal MP woman who ran.
When they gave the plea deal, what do you mean?
Oh, didn't they?
That's
The
not
original.
nothing to do with the judge. That would be prosecutor, and that was before the trial. So it had
Oh, the
nothing to do with it.
prosecutor was a former Liberal MP.
No, 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 no. The judge that we had,
Yeah.
Bravo, something like that. She's the liberal that ran for the Liberals and praises Trudeau, attacked the truckers, like verbally attacked the truckers. That we may still get her for the trial. She's
Yeah.
not officially off, so she could be, but we don't know who we're getting for the motion. They haven't.
Yeah. So there is a possibility then that maybe this liberal loving Trudeau loving Liberal MP could be the judge.
Right now, the trial is set for March. And on the record, she is the judge. But we're not going in front of her for this jury. That will be a different judge.
Right. It's more preliminary
and if he
application.
gets a jury somehow, then she's out. But I don't think they can give a jury anyway. I think they're going to have to drop the charges. I don't know how they're going to get around it because they have a case law that says it can't be bounced up to the Superior Court. So it has to stay there because they have exclusive jurisdiction. And I don't think they're going to come up with a ruling, oh, we don't have to have a fair trial. For 99 or 98% of the cases, they don't have to have a fair trial. What the hell? What kind of right is that? We have a right to a fair trial in the Bill of Rights. And the fair trial is all spelt out, in common law and whatever. And jury is part of a fair trial. And being able to argue your full defense. Okay, so if you need to argue your rights, your right to full defense is denied. So not a fair trial. There's so many elements that would create an unfair trial in his case if they just proceed. You're not getting a jury. You're not bringing up your arguments. Da, 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 da. So they would be therefore cementing this notion that 98% of the cases, no juries, no rights. I don't know if they get away with that, especially if, attention is brought into it. So the short answer is we don't know who's the jury trial, but the actual trial is in March. And do you know how to pronounce your name, V? Bourgeois, something like that.
I think it's bourgeois.
Bourgeois. Okay.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah.
So, in a highly politicized trial like this, which is the state itself is involved in, like an emergency act, in beating the protesters, the state, that's a real conflict of interest for a state-appointed judge whose salary is paid by the state. They're appointed by the provincial government, these judges, or the federal, whatever. And if there's collaboration, and there often is, between the various state actors like law enforcement with the judiciary, the intelligence agencies, and the political parties, because like Trudeau's there, his liberal.
Actually, in your affidavit that went in support of this jury, you talked about Pat King. That would be fitting, right? What you're saying right now. It's a prosecutor and a judge.
Oh yeah, there was collusion. Definitely the Hackland. That was Judge Hackland, Pat King's judge, gave some ridiculous limitation saying, "Hey, you want a jury, but uh, they gave him no, like they there was some machinations, right? They released disclosure last minute.
Yeah,
They put
his
they put
lawyer.
arbitrary pressure on
Yeah.
King. It's like his lawyer wasn't ready, and they said if you're not ready right
Yeah,
now.
it wasn't her fault though. Supposedly they dumped. Well, I mean, I think she was part of the whole trip, but the disclosure was given at the last minute. So she asked the judge for an adjournment so she could have time to review this last minute disclosure. And the judge said, if you want an adjournment, you have to give up your right to a jury, which was completely ridiculous because they hadn't struck a jury yet. There's no reason why he said that because there would be no, like if they already called them all and did all, because it's quite a process to get it all into place. If they had done that all and set the dates for trial and everything's all ready to go, and then you say, I want an adjournment, that is at least something to consider. Okay. He didn't have anything to consider. There was no reason for that. And then the lawyer turns around. She could have appealed that, and then that would have given her time to review, regardless of how the appeal came out. But she didn't do that. Instead, she turned around to Pat and said, Pat, you have to give up your jury because I
And
can't
Pat
defend you properly
and
unless
Pat had huge charges, 5 months in jail. He had an absolute right to
yeah,
a jury, and the
yeah,
judge came up with some cockamamie, crazy, arbitrary
yeah,
decision, forcing him to say, "Hey, you can't. If you're going to adjourn, you're not ready. You get no jury." And it was like this big pressure thing,
yeah,
and that's sophistry. It's subterfuge. It's
yeah,
running interference. It's the judge with the prosecution, and then
yeah.
they're all
And
getting
the
together.
lawyer playing her part too.
Yeah, there's
Like
a lawyer
instead
like
of,
that's a
she
that's a
could have still
dubious.
got out of that by appealing it.
Yeah, his lawyer very dubious. His
Yeah,
lawyer there,
yeah,
whatever
and
her
did
name
other
is.
things too that were
I think
she wouldn't
his lawyer was not his friend. You know what
no,
I mean?
she wouldn't call his bail hearing. He stayed in there for 6 months because of her.
Yeah, Pat King's
He
lawyer was
before
not a good lawyer.
no before he had her, he had another one. I don't know the name, and they went to a bail review, and the bail excuse me, at the bail review, he said somebody hacked into his computer, so he needed an adjournment, and the court said okay. So that should have been like for the next day. Like they're supposed to take bail and all that stuff really, really serious, right? He did. I don't want to guess right now, but it was months after till she finally called the bail hearing and he got out. So he could have got out those months earlier. I think about 4 months he could have got out. You know what I mean? She just wouldn't
Mhm.
call it. Oh, I'm having a trial and I'm busy and then finally she does it. And there was precipitating conditions or circumstance early on, just after she took over. Dave got in touch with Pat and asked him if he wanted assistance to do a habeas corpus, and Pat said yes, which is produce the body, right, and prove that he's legitimately incarcerated, which he wasn't.
Right.
So soon as the lawyer got word of it, she gets right up at Pat and says, "Oh, don't do that. I have something going on with the crown. You're gonna screw it up. Like, back off. Get out of that situation." So Pat said, "No, Dave, not gonna do it because my lawyer's got something going on." And I've got texts about this from the girlfriend, from Pat's girlfriend. So he like trusted her or whatever. He backed off and trusted her, and she didn't do anything for months and months and months after that. So Dave went again and talked to Pat and said, "Pat, do you want to do habeas corpus now?" And he goes, "Yes." And this time I'm not going to stop. I'm sick of being in here. Yes, do it. So Dave actually filed it. And then the lawyer jumps in and says, "Pat doesn't agree. We can't have it that hearing because he doesn't agree." And meanwhile, by law, he doesn't have to agree. The whole idea is it's a provision whereby the community at large can monitor how the system is dealing with somebody that's being incarcerated. Make sure that it's, legitimate and it's got good grounds, all that. So Dave pushed back to the clerk's office and says, "No, I can do this. Doesn't matter if Pat agrees." And then, so the lawyer, in order to stop the habeas corpus, she finally calls a bail hearing. She calls it, and he gets out. So, not impressed.
Wow. So
And
the
and
fear
then
of habeas corpus.
she still did one other scummy thing. Um, he had the same bail conditions as Byron and Norm Blanchfield, which is that they were prohibited from using social media, which means they can't even send an email. So it's not just about posting, it's about communicating. They cannot use it. And they both, I think Byron was a year later or over a year later before he finally got it in front of a judge that this is a violation of freedom of speech, and he won his case. And Norm Blanchfield did the same thing, and he won his case. And then Dave spoke to Pat and said, "Hey, Pat, look at this. Why don't you do this too?" So Pat talked to a lawyer, and the lawyer said, "I'll call the Crown, see what I can do." So she goes, talks to the Crown, comes back. "I got a deal for you, Pat. I got your social media back. All you have to do is be on the social media to promote fundraising for me." That's what she said. So
What
Pat
a
was allowed to be on
horribly
as long as he
dishonest
was.
lawyer. What a horrible
Yes,
lawyer.
and also there was another condition that no money, no matter what, is to be sent to Pat. It must be sent directly to the lawyer. So that was the deal. You can have your freedom of speech back as long as you do that. The hell? Just right in the heels of two successful, and they didn't have any conditions or anything. Byron's removed all of it. And Norm Blanchfield removed all of it. No conditions, no nothing. Just boom, gone.
I think the way they're all three were treated, Byron, Pat King, and JP, they were scapegoats.
Yeah.
They beat up Byron Carr with a billy club, I believe.
No, they hit him once with it.
Okay, they hit him. That's not that kind of hurts.
And you know what
And
the
he
circumstances
wasn't
were?
even
An
armed.
old
It
man
was
fell
ridiculous.
down, and he bent down to help the guy up, and he got hit when he was bent down.
He was helping an old man who fell
Yeah,
down and he got hit in the
yeah,
head.
yeah,
Wow. And then JP got jumped by seven guys,
yeah,
seven officers.
yeah.
And then they put Byron in this against the human rights solitary confinement for excess of the Human Rights Watch 15 days solitary in the hole.
Yeah, 50, anything more than 15 days. That was done on a habeas corpus in Alberta in 2020. The guy was in the hole, I don't know how many days, but the court decided anything more than 15 days is torture. And Byron was in jail for 41 days, and he was in the hole for 17 days.
So they're torturing peaceful protesters in Canada. They freeze your bank account, they beat you up, and then they torture you.
Yeah.
Welcome to communist well, we're not communism because we're fighting it right now.
Well, yeah, it's all of that's still illegal. In communist country, it's legal. And they almost got us into a communist country. Like this summer. They just like so too close for comfort. And they're not done yet. I'm sure they have a plan C. I think their first plan failed, which was to take over the country through public health. And look at all the time and the money and changing laws and doing all kinds of stuff. And now it's since the truckers, it's over. They won. The truckers won.
They did. They removed the vaccine passport, the lockdowns, the martial law. They tried to do another lockdown that people weren't. They're like, oh, we have the worst strain of the virus now ever. Everyone put your masks back on. No one listened.
Yeah, I love that.
Then they ran the behavioral economic figures and the actuarials, and they said, shit, no one's listening. So we better remove this emergency order because we'll have no credibility ever again.
Yeah, and they just stopped the whole thing. Like they put the structures there. I think PIAC is private, and I think those public health that were at the city level were private too. And it's been over 2 years. It's been since 2022. And there's nothing more. So if they were taking over the country through there, we would see more. Like you'd see the advancement, and it's not there. And I think Plan B was to abdicate the parliamentary authority to the court. And that didn't happen either. And I don't believe it's going to happen. They might try another way, but I don't see it. I don't see it happening.
They're trying to invert democracy by subordinating the parliament and putting the courts, and the courts got to be neutral. They just have a function.
Yeah.
So that's just unconstitutional what they were trying to do there.
Yeah, and that's the way Nazi Germany was. And Polyev was promising to be that dictator too, because he said he was going to use Section 33 of the Charter to override rights. So that meant they were after our common law and they were after our Bill of Rights because you can't use Section 33 to override rights, except for any rights that are in the Charter that weren't in common law and weren't in the Bill of Rights, such as the Canadian, what do they call it, language rights law, the way they wrote it. It was like we had equality rights in 1B of the Bill of Rights. So we didn't need that French language law, and it had like elements to it that were not kosher. And Quebec said, we don't want that. So they used Section 33 to override it. And they argued that it is a right that's only in the Charter. So they were successful. But Polyev was promising to eliminate the right to reasonable bail, for Christ's sakes. That means they can pick anybody up, leave them in there as long as they want. There's no justification that they have to give or anything else. And he wanted to remove the right to protection from cruel and unusual punishment. And this is right out of his own mouth, like talking head, because a few of the diehard Polyev lovers were after me. He wouldn't do that. And I said, well, go look at the interview. It's coming right out of his talking head. So that was a promise that he was going to be the dictator, and he was pushing for the court to be the ultimate authority. That's where he was leading everybody. And his own party went against him too. So I don't know why they're not having a leadership race there. I hope they do. Because he's a piece of work, that guy. So should we end this one and go on to the church letter?
Yeah. I mean, we could just go on forever with all the irregularities and procedural, like sabotage and all that. But we can go on to why don't we go on to something that we can do actively right now to move the needle and get our religious organizations on board, right?
Yep. So we're gonna do by fax, Dave and I. He's got some workers that'll do it. Just I think I have to get a host back to, or maybe I can still share without being a host. Just a minute. Yeah, I can. I think. Yes, I can. Can you see it?
I'm going to try to transfer host to you.
No, I got it. I think it's up. If you look.
Okay.
Can you see it?
Yeah, I see it. Yes. A call for
Okay.
moral leadership in
Yeah.
protecting the right to jury trials.
Yep.
And against government overreach. Okay. Yeah, I got it.
Yeah. So what I put in here, I might move these links to the bottom, but one is I won't open it now, but there's biblical references that support jury, and they're really good. And then Judeo-Christian princes. That's support. Oops. And then a jury, like that was in the other letter. Is like this is a link to the case law. Dave knows how to make these short ones. So before the letter goes out, see the first one, the King versus Conway is a short one, and I need to make this second one into a short one too. And then, so this is a call for moral leadership in protecting the right to jury trials and justice. So, dear church leader, I write to you with deep respect for your faith, community's leadership, and your commitment to justice and fairness. Today, I seek your support in advocating for the restoration and protection of the right to jury trial and the ability to make rights-based arguments in legal defense. These issues are of profound importance, as demonstrated by the ongoing trials of individuals involved in the 2022 trucker convoy, including Mr. J.P. Ayotte. Violations of justice and fundamental freedoms. Mr. Ayotte participated in the convoy as a peaceful protester, exercising his democratic rights to freedom of speech and assembly. These rights, which are central to our faith and democratic society, were confirmed to have been violated by Justice Mosley, who ruled that oh, sorry. Oh, God. When it does that. Can't find out where I was. Shit. Anyways, despite this, Mr. Ayotte has been subject to grave injustices. He was beaten by police and had his property, including a hot tub, destroyed and was forcibly removed from Ottawa. Police abandoned him on the outskirts of the city in freezing weather without phone or money, leaving him standing stranded and at risk. Now he faces criminal charges in the Ontario Court of Justice, a court that denies access to jury trials and has limited jurisdiction to address fundamental rights violations. His application for a jury trial is scheduled to be heard on February 10th, 2025, but this case highlights broader systemic issues that undermine fairness and accountability in our legal system. The right to jury trial has been a cornerstone of justice for centuries, enshrined in the Magna Carta of 1215. This principle ensures that no one can be deprived of freedom or property without the lawful judgment of their equals. Jury trials were once guaranteed for 100% of criminal cases in Canada, but this right has been systemically eroded. In 1902, the case of Conway demonstrated the importance of jury trials when a conviction was overturned because no jury was provided for this summary offense. By 1982, jury trials were used in only 10 to 15% of criminal cases. Today, fewer than 2% of criminal matters involve juries. Without jury trials, decisions are left solely to government-appointed judges, removing the impartiality and collective wisdom that juries provide. Denial of rights-based defenses. This situation is further compounded by the limited jurisdiction of the Ontario Court of Justice, which prevents individuals from making rights-based arguments in their defense. This means that Mr. Ayotte cannot, actually, I got to change that a bit because prevents individuals from making rights-based arguments involving there's a difference because they can hear some, like if their rights aren't read to them or if they didn't get a counsel or something like that, but they're not allowed to go broader to your fundamental rights. Those are legal rights. This means that Mr. Ayotte cannot challenge the legality of the police actions against him or argue that his rights to freedom and speech. Oh, wait, I gotta change that too. This means that Mr. Ayotte cannot challenge the legality. No, I'm gonna take there, just take that out. Cannot challenge the legality of his rights to freedom of speech and assembly. Or no, cannot challenge. Even though these rights were affirmed by Justice Mosley. This dual limitation, denial of a jury trial and inability to make rights-based arguments, strips individuals like Mr. Ayotte of the ability to receive a fair trial. It also sets a dangerous precedent for future cases, undermining the principles of fairness, accountability, and the protection of fundamental rights. A call to moral leadership. As faith leaders, your voice carries the power to inspire change and uphold justice. The Bible calls us to act with fairness and impartiality. On the evidence of 2 or 3 witnesses, the matter shall be confirmed. That's detriment. I can't pronounce that. Whatever. And then the next one is, you shall not pervert justice. You shall not show partiality. Without counsel, plans fail, but with many advisors, they succeed. These principles reflect the values of fairness, collective judgment, and accountability that are central to both our faith and our jury system. The case of Mr. Ayotte represents more than one individual's plight. It highlights systemic issues in Canadians' justice system that threatens the rights and freedoms of all citizens. By advocating for the restoration of jury trials and the ability to make rights-based defenses, we can help protect these vital safeguards and ensure that justice is done and seen to be done. I urge you as leaders of faith to speak out against these injustices. Your leadership can inspire others to stand up for the principles of fairness, accountability, and the dignity of all individuals. Together, we can affirm the moral and democratic values that strengthen both our faith and our society. Thank you for your time, your leadership, and your dedication to justice. So, stop and ask if there's any feedback, comments. I got broad shoulders. I take criticism very well, I think.
Someone got, maybe there was a glitch and they got booted out of Zoom, and then they got back in. they lost the chat history. Can we capture the chat history for people? I can.
I think so.
I know I've tried to take photos while I'm on Zoom, and your camera doesn't let you. So I was gonna think I think Marissa has lost. Was there something you needed, Marissa? Like one of the links? Anyways, also
Let
someone.
me see if I can. There's there's a thing that says save chat. Okay, so everything that's in there is saved now, and it's in the my Finder.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so it says show in the Finder. So, oh.
Okay. Someone said, I think it's Marushka.
Oh, I have it. I have it.
Oh, good, good.
So I can put that in the chat, I believe.
Okay.
Yeah, there you go. Wow, that was easy. There's everything.
You put that in the chat? Let me see. Oh,
I
meeting
put it
saved.
for you. Sorry, I meant to put it for everybody. Just a second.
Oh, is that the whole? Yeah. That's.
Well, you can see it on V's. Like everybody can see that, right? Or no? Or maybe not. Oh, I gotta do it again.
No, I'll forward it to the group.
Okay.
If I can. Okay, if I
Okay,
take
I can put it again in the group.
you do it. You do it. Yeah, you do it. No,
there.
I can read it. I don't know how you did that, Jane. You got the whole.
It was easy. You just see at the top, there's
What's the
these three
command?
little dots, and then it says save chat, and then it says show in Finder. So I click in Finder, and it's a file on my computer.
I think you as host can do that. I don't see the save chat anywhere.
Oh, I thought it was. I'm not the host though, am I? I don't think I'm the host.
Oh my God, I'm the host. You're right. What's three dots? Okay, well, anyways, I'll look.
You go into the chat itself.
Oh, okay.
And at the very top right, there's three little dots.
Oh yeah.
And you pull that down, and it just says one thing: save. And
it
then
says turn off notification. Oh, it says show in chat. No, it doesn't. It doesn't do what you're telling me.
It doesn't say show in Finder?
No.
Oh, weird. Oh well, I can do it.
Well, you've got superpowers, so you got it.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe because it's a Macintosh, it operates differently.
Wait, Marushka had said something I forgot, and let me read what she said. She said the Trudeau appointed judges must be a little uncomfortable now.
Yeah,
exactly.
I think
the chickens are coming home to roost, right?
Yeah, that's what I think.
Yeah. I think they think that
it's junk. When I open this, it's junk.
When I opened what you sent me, it says meeting saved. It's not junk.
Oh my God, mine's just a big, like you can't even read it probably. Oh well, like at least if everybody else can, that's good. Oh no, I guess you can read it. Just looks kind of funny. Yeah. Yeah, you can read it.
Yep.
Okay, well, that's a good little skill that we can have for the future.
If someone doesn't have some information, just email Jane or me or whatever. Or, yeah.
New Trudeau for treason line. What is that?
Oh, yeah. Karen said the Trudeau appointed judges must be a little uncomfortable now. Yeah, yeah, of course. That's it.
Yeah, they are. You can see that one.
Jane, you mentioned something too about a real inquiry, and let's call this a performative or kangaroo court inquiry. Now, real inquiries can have subpoena power, and they could they can demand any information to be presented. Bank records, bank records, statements, anything. And then they have some type of power to have rulings, recommendations, which are enforceable, like
I don't know. I said I don't think they're enforceable
Okay, but
directly.
they could have recommendations that they recommend to the government, and then it's up to the government
Well,
to.
the thing that makes them work is the fact that they have the subpoena power. So they're getting all the information they need to make a proper decision. And then if you have decision makers that are, experienced and whatever, judges, then the public is going to be, I would think, favorable to whatever they recommend. And it's all public. That's the thing. Everybody would know at the end of the day. See, if they didn't make the information public, well, there's two factors. If they didn't have subpoena power, then somebody could criticize that's not a good decision they make because they didn't have everything to consider. So that's one that would make it a lame duck. And then the other would be if it wasn't a public process because the documents and whatever other evidence they attain in a public inquiry are available to the public. So if it's subpoena power and publicly available evidence that they've gathered, then you're going to know that the decision is based on solid evidence. So the likelihood of whoever, like say it's the federal government, the likelihood of the federal government refusing to enact their recommendations would be disastrous because the public, there would be no doubt because they know what it's based on, right? It's available to them. And they had the authority to get anything they needed from anybody. Like subpoena power, they can get whatever they need.
And the inquiry should ask questions from both sides, not to frame the issue of the inquiry into one.
That's impartiality. That's impartiality, of course.
One-sided inquiry. Like POAC was asking, did the convoy disturb residents or whatever it was asking? It's like they didn't ask the more critical question, were Canadians' rights violated? It didn't ask that. The right to protest and free speech. It didn't ask that. It was like really biased. Anyways.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, for sure. It was the whole structure was screwed right from the beginning. Like they didn't have subpoena power, for one thing. And they structured it poorly. They started off with a false premise because they said there was an occupation and there was a blockade. So we're going to examine how these things adversely affected the public. So they're even like starting off by saying it's an adverse effect. So two crimes that Mosley said did not happen in the end, like when it went to the federal court. And they didn't, in their structure, they only had a group that were against the protest. And a lot of them were crazy nuts, like completely off their rocker. And then they never had a group that supported it, like of citizens, right? That supported it. And even their so-called group of truckers was dubious because that was the truckers, what do they call it? Not the Freedom Corporation. That was Keith Wilson and Tamara and all those people that just converged on it and took over or tried to take over. I don't even think they took over as far as I'm concerned. The truckers didn't respond to them.
They weren't even truckers.
They weren't truckers, but I'm saying the truckers weren't following them either.
No, they weren't.
They were ignoring them. They said,
Tamara wasn't a trucker. Keith Wilson, Tom Marazzo, none of them were truckers, and they were all of a sudden declaring themselves as the leader of what was a kind of a organic yellow vest, no leaderless group.
Yep.
And
Yeah.
so definitely you got to say government agents.
Yeah.
You got to say
Absolutely.
them.
Yeah.
Got it.
Yeah.
Who are these people?
And they did many things adverse. They, for one thing, I was talking to you about this yesterday. They tried to go around and get all of the truckers to sign an agreement that they're a member of this Freedom Corp. And only 67 signed it out of 3,000. So what does that tell you? And they offered money. If you sign this agreement, you could have $500 cash or $1,500 Bitcoin. And only 67 signed it. And a big whack of those 7 people would have been them. Like there was at least 20 of them, right? So it's not even 67. And also the names and contact information of those 67 ended up in the hands of Paul Champ, who was the lawyer that's suing the truckers. Which is, how did it get there? Unless they voluntarily gave it to them.
And the ones who signed that deal with the devil,
Yep.
they got charges.
Not necessarily charges, they got sued.
They got sued. That's what happens when you sign a deal with a creepy group like the JCCF.
Yeah.
You get sued.
Yeah.
Because you're like, I'm joining this group because they say they're my friends.
Yeah.
And they're
And
gonna
they say that they're the leaders. That's how that worked, eh? Because they were declaring themselves as leaders.
We're the leaders. Sign here. We're your
Yeah.
leaders. Sign here.
Yeah. Yeah. And they
I
had
think
they sent out little not little, but they sent out captains to each block to give messages, orders, issue orders or whatever from the leadership to the truckers. And the truckers, by and large, didn't even show up to them. Like the one I went to, there was like Rebecca and Amanda were there, but there was about 3 other people there. And they promoted it like crazy. It's going to be on Thursday at 2 o'clock or whatever, on and on and on. And it was crap. They said, first of all, this was before the order about horn honking, and they came with an order from Freedom Corp to say no horn honking at any time of day, no matter where your vehicle is, because the majority of the vehicles weren't even in residential. Like about at least 1 block up from Wellington is all government. And all Wellington is all government. There's no residents there. So they could have said, no, like we recommend, not we, but they didn't. We order, you can't do it. But they could have said, we recommend that you don't blow the horn in the residential areas, or maybe after 8 o'clock in the residential areas, whatever, but leave them alone on Wellington and leave them alone on that 1 block up from Wellington. But no. And the second thing they told them was, if the police stop you and they want you to show your identification, you must do that immediately.
Which was horse, whatever.
Yeah, yeah. And I challenged them, and they were very pissed off about it.
If the police ask you, please show me your ID right now, you say, what am I being accused of?
Yeah.
Is there a charge? Like what? Why? You ask why.
Yeah. And if
And
they don't give you, they have to show you reasonable and probable cause.
They have no cause. You're like, well, I'm not showing you my ID. I don't have to.
Yeah. You don't even have to talk to them unless there's
this isn't
reasonable.
Nazi Germany, is it? Like,
Yeah.
you can't just do that.
Yeah.
But they were trying to convince people, the JCCF, that they had to do that.
Yeah. Yeah. That's what
And
they
some
told them.
freedom people were going along with that bullshit.
No, they weren't. That's my point. Nobody
Okay.
was going up to the stupid meetings. Like there was
Okay.
3 people showed up. Like, well, there was more because I was there and Amanda and Rebecca, but there was only 3 other ones. And there was like at least on that block there was
Yep.
at least 20, 25 or more vehicles. So they were deliberately not going, like you'd think they would be going at least to, whatever, like have something to do because it's pretty boring. And they still didn't even go for that reason. And 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 they use the same word all the time. We don't listen to those clowns. I heard that many, many times. So we do have a chance at a jury. So hopefully we
We
can
just know this too. We're learning. If
Yeah.
this ever happens again, expect all this infiltration.
Yeah. Yeah. But we have better skills now too, right? Of analyzing the situation and to identify the freetards. I know use that word too broadly, but what I mean is controlled opposition. But I use that also to include people that go along with controlled opposition. It's both. So that's why I don't just say controlled opposition, because they're a problem too. Somebody that repeatedly listens to that stuff and passes along.
Which actually, I have to admit, used to be me 3 years ago.
Yeah.
I was believing some of those
Oh,
controlled
everybody
opposition
did.
agents.
Everybody did. I bought one lock, stock, and barrel, the one about that the government's de facto because of the Westminster statute from 1931. And now I look back and I think, oh my God, what were you thinking? Because the argument goes, in 1931, Britain permitted Canada to go and make their own constitution. So the way their argument goes is, but we didn't. Therefore, we don't have a constitution. And if we don't have a constitution, then our government's de facto. And I bought that. For about 6 months, I was like, whoa, the government's de facto. And then I started thinking, wait a minute. That didn't say in there that the current constitution dies on the spot because now you can make your own. Didn't say that. So obviously it meant to be keep it in place until we make our own. And we still haven't made our own. So we still have the British North American Act. And if it was de facto, why was it this is what really made me wake up to it. There was since 1931 till 2022, I think is when I was looking at her, 21, there was 30 amendments made to the Constitution. So how can you amend something that doesn't exist? But anyways, I bought that one line and sinker. And I was like, I didn't buy this one, but I was at first when I heard it, I thought the people that were saying it were so convinced it was true. I was like, whoa, when did that happen? And that's this business of they're saying that we're not in common law anymore. We're in martial law or maritime law. And and like I say, it was a group of people that were all entrenched in this thing, and they were all like, oh yeah, we all know this. And I was like, whoa, why? When did that happen? And then I looked into it and it didn't even happen. It still hasn't happened. And there's so much nonsense there.
Yeah, there's not a lot of wins in court with the maritime law argument. I haven't seen any.
There's zero. They have a ruling that calls them out, basically, that Mead versus Mead. People say that's an anti-self-representation, and it's not. It's an anti-freetard, is what it is. Because he calls them out like a straw man and all that stuff. He's like, there's no legal basis for any of this. And he spelled it out too, not just like but batted it off. Like he, addressed each one of their things. And he said that I think they call them pseudo legal arguments or whatever. And they're not allowed. Like if they advance them because of this case law, they're allowed to just shut it down. And if they continue doing it, they can say that they have to get permission from the court in order to make a legal presentation. And I don't even disagree with that. I don't even disagree with that. It's nonsense. And it's made up. And it's made up on purpose. It wasn't just accidentally You know what I mean? Like even William Keats said, and we never talked to him about that. He brought that up in our last video.
Yeah, he did.
Yep. And I said I called them freetards, and he laughed.
He had some other name for them in the UK, but yeah, if
Yeah.
you're just going to believe any conspiracy and then you can't test it that it's effective. For example, when they start saying the government's de facto, what that makes people do is, well, let's give up right on the spot because there's
Yeah.
no need to fight it because it's
Yeah.
already captured.
Yeah.
So
And
let's
we have
just
no
all
rights.
let's
We
go on
have no
TikTok and
rights.
watch
Yeah.
TV or do
What goes
nothing.
with that is we have no rights too, eh? Like if the government's de
Yeah.
facto, there's no Bill of Rights.
The government's de facto, we may as well just say everyone just be demoralized and
Yeah.
just everyone just know you're powerless. That's
Yeah.
when you say the government it's not elected, it doesn't represent the people, it's a de facto.
Yeah.
We live in a tyranny, it's a despotism.
Yeah.
The government is
Diana,
illegitimate, it doesn't kiss the queen's ring or something, the governor
yeah.
general didn't sign a paper or something, I don't know. All this crazy stuff.
Yeah.
There's no flag in the courtroom. It's all this. It's this is crazy. There's a maritime law and all this, and it's like
Straw man.
okay, so we can just, or the white hats are going to save you.
Yeah.
So we're not going to do anything. The black hats or the white hats, and we're just going to sit back and do nothing.
Yeah. And they'll
While
take care of
they
it all.
push ahead with the tyrannical 15-minute city biometric tracing agenda, smart water meters, because it's all de facto. Let's do nothing about it.
Yeah. It's Chyanid already.
That's why they invented that.
Yeah.
It's a psyop. It's probably a CIA propaganda, and it's copied here in Canada.
Actually, it was communist. Communist. And I'm sure CIA did it too. But
Oh, you mean it's part of the old communist
yeah.
playbook
Yeah.
and the propaganda? Really,
Yeah.
eh?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Specifically that. Like you're like attacking the government, attacking the police. Like that's right in their handbook. They have a manifesto.
Destabilize.
Yeah, destabilize, yeah. And demoralize. And they're just like it's the globalists now. Like I keep calling it communism because whatever I got stuck on that, but it's not. It's globalism, but they've adapted these strategies or adopted these strategies. I mean, same strategies, same purpose
Yeah, and
make
it's
you go,
not Klaus Schwab and the devil. It's the people. He's the PR front. It's the people behind that who
yeah,
are the trillionaire elites
yeah,
who have so much power and wealth, and they're like all they care about is maintaining their position of power, profit, and control, and then they're using this like facade of the World Economic Forum to be the mean guy to deflect from them. But I feel you can work your way up the hierarchy and start holding people at the lower rungs accountable, slowly moving to the top. And that's that's tangible, and we can do that.
yeah,
And we are doing that. And Trudeau just resigned.
yeah,
Which is in a very scandalous, unceremonious manner. I don't think he wanted to.
no,
And a lot of people from the bottoms up movements pushing back.
yep,
And it does eventually get to the top. If we all did it together, it'd be almost immediate.
exactly.
We only need like 10%, and it gets done.
Yeah.
Someone said the French Revolution where they now I'm not promoting violence, but I think it was only like 5% of the population of France, or 3%.
Yep.
They completely they cut the head off Marie Antoinette, and they got rid of that. And they brought in a type of republic. No, that wasn't perfect either. And then the American, it was like a bit of a snowball effect. Other countries, the American Revolution, and everyone was like, yeah, you know what? We got to stop living with this rule of one, or oligarchs controlling our lives, the few ruling the many. And the few are trying to get it back to that.
Yeah.
But we're still the many saying no.
Yeah.
We can't let the few control the many. It's that simple.
And I think we're winning.
Yeah.
We didn't win yet, like totally. They're still here. There's still a threat, but we're in the lead.
I love it, and we got this.
Yeah, we do. And we'll just be ready for their next move. And eventually we'll weed it all out. I think there's going to be a big, like, a big explosion, like with this police investigation. And I think it's genuine because you can see the jitteriness with officials right now that we're acting against us, and they're like, ooh, like pulling it back. Even the freetards that were out in the street trying to rile people up. Oh, the police, da, la, la. Now they've toned down. I'm going to do some research this week too and see just how much they've toned down. They were actually, many of them were coming out last year saying revolution, actually saying it on their lives, which technically is illegal because
The reason why, even though we outnumber, the reason why a violent revolution is very stupid is because we wouldn't win. There's an
No, I know.
asymmetry of power. Look at Gaza. You got the kids throwing stones against an Apache helicopter. That's what would be happening.
Yeah,
I
I
don't
agree.
want. That's a really bad. That's a Darwinian idea. Like it's gonna be like we'll be dead if we do that. We need
Yeah.
a peaceful, nonviolent,
Yeah,
assertive, holding people accountable, liable, cleaning house because we have a good system already there.
yeah,
The Constitution can't be erased.
yeah,
Common law can't be erased. So we got it. We got a good thing going.
yeah. We're
Right.
definitely in a crisis, but I think we're getting somewhere. I figure, I don't know, it's just arbitrary, but I figure about another year of this. And it's going to implode. Like their whole power structure is actually it is imploding. That's why they're doing this. But it's going to continue to, and it's going to just gut.
They're gonna evil never sleeps. They're gonna come back in some. They're gonna crawl back in some another incarnation with some other power grab coup, some other sneaky thing.
Like
So we
like
always got to be
overturning the
vigilant.
prorogation, like that one.
Yeah, all of these tricks. They're gonna come back
Yeah,
because they're slimy. Like I said, evil never sleeps.
yeah,
Globalist never sleeps.
yeah. But we're smarter. We got more people, and God's on our side. So they can't win. And for sure they can't win because that would mean they beat God.
And no one beats God.
No,
God wins. God trumps these guys.
exactly. So in the end,
Well, if you believe in karma, they don't have a very good future.
no. And you
Karma's a
know,
bitch sometimes, you know?
Gandhi, I don't know if I can get it right, but he says, um, what does he say? Dictators seem formidable for a time. The tyrants, I think he called it, the tyrants seem formidable for a time, but they all fall. Think about it, he said. They all fall in the end.
Even the Roman Empire fell.
Yep.
Yeah, they all fall.
Yeah.
Look at Ceausescu in Romania.
Yep.
Boy, he thought he had it he had everything. He had the
Yep.
money, he had the whole country, and no, his people just stormed his house in parliament, and then he was done.
Yeah. Hitler
Yeah.
too.
Hitler too. Hitler had his time.
Yeah.
Napoleon, they all had their time.
I guess
Stalin,
you could say what goes up must come down.
There you go.
Simple rule of the universe.
Trudeau has his time, and his twin replacement, same boss, Poilievre.
Yeah.
He'll have his time too.
Yeah. I think there might be some serious rumbling in the Conservative Party because I joined something like 20 of them. 20 conservative groups on Facebook. Oops, somebody's background noise here. Just a second.
No, I don't think so.
Well, I'll mute all. Just come back on, B.
Sure. No, you can mute all. Go ahead. I'm just making a chicken soup, so if there's any ideas what I can put in it, let me know.
I muted myself, and I didn't get the one I was trying to mute. Oh well, they're not talking anymore.
No, they're not talking, and you're back. All good.
I'm back. Okay. Yeah. So, I think we can probably sign off now, unless there's any comments in the. Just a minute. I'll look and see comments. Oh, there's somebody observer put a. Let me see if I can click it. Oh, is it a PDF? I think. Yeah, it's a
Know
PDF.
your rights when interacting with police. Thank you, Observer. I love Observer.
Yeah.
Observer always has good info.
Yeah.
You guys copy that. I'm copying it right now to my clipboard. Thank you.
I'll copy that too.
I got to know my rights.
I'm gonna put this right in here.
In fact, I don't have to be given my rights. I already have them. They're absolute. They're God-given and they're natural, as is written in the Constitution and the Bill of Rights. So I don't need anyone to give me my rights. I already have them.
Yeah.
They can try to take them away, but I'm not going to let it happen.
No, I'm gonna have a look at this. This looks interesting. Maybe we can discuss it or do some of the video next week.
Let's do a show on it. Let's know your rights.
Yeah.
Let's do a show how to protest.
Yeah.
It's not illegal to walk on the street in a protest, guys. You don't have to listen to these bylaws.
Yeah, no. That's
Protests don't have to be silent, guys. They're meant to be disruptive. You can yell at a protest.
Yeah.
It's called freedom
megaphone.
of speech, freedom of assembly, megaphone, music, you're allowed.
Yeah.
They're trying to make protesting obsolete. I wonder why.
Yeah, because we're the ones that call them out. They want to silence. So anyway, is anybody oh wait, I didn't finish the chat because I got distracted. Okay, I'll just see if there's any more messages. Oh, carrots and celery for the soup, Cindy
Okay.
said.
I have a little celery. I think I have a carrot. What else? What spice do you put in the soup? It's organic chicken.
Turmeric.
Okay. Doing that right now. Well, I think with this chicken soup, I have to say, I got this. We got this, guys.
It sounds, it's making me hungry.
I got this chicken soup thing. Oh, ginger. There you go.
Oh yeah, ginger, yeah.
Thanks, Cindy. I'll put on the ginger. Okay. What about garlic?
Oh yeah, yeah.
That's a must. That's like comfort food. Garlic, chicken.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, I'm not vegan. I can't be vegan. Sorry.
Yeah, me either. What's that spice? There's like that Indian spice. Like I can't.
There's a curcumin, cumin, turmeric. There's about 100 Indian spices.
What's the common one? The most common one? I don't know. Even can't believe I can't remember. Chicken.
I'd say cumin and turmeric are the most popular. Curry leaves.
Curry. That's what it was.
Curry leaves, yeah, curry.
Yeah.
And then all kinds of spice, different spice.
Yeah. Yeah, curry.
Coriander and
chicken.
Yeah.
So okay.
Hey guys.
Yeah, I think I'll sign off now. Just a sec. I'll put my camera on for a second. Okay, here we go. Just so I can say, we got this. We definitely got this.
We got this, guys, and we got this, Jane. Thanks so
Yep.
much.
Yeah. Good night,
Thanks for
everyone.
making a 150-page document. Thank you. To help the hot tub guys. Thank you. We got this.
Yeah.
We do.
Good
Good
Yeah.
chat. Good night.
night,
Good night,
guys.
Larry.
Good night.
Good night.
Good night.
Good night, guys.
Night night.